Hello, hello. I can't tell if my mic was on the whole time. I hope not. Hello, welcome to another episode of Umineko. We are on the second episode of Dawn of the Golden Witch today. Holy shit. Arc 6, let's go. I'm very ready for this. Things are gonna get weird and interesting in the best way. But first, I'm just gonna start the game up. Hello, cat. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. I'm just starting up the game. And praying that I didn't have my mic on when I started the stream, because I think I was like singing to myself. So, gonna have to check for that later. You're doing very good? That's great. Me too. You didn't? Okay. Okay, good. Alright. So, let me just start off with what happened on the last episode. There was a wedding. Suddenly, randomly, out of nowhere, Erica was getting married to Balor, who is, non-responsive now, somehow. Not talking. Keeps mumbling, can't escape, can't escape. Then we saw a person trapped in a locked room that they could not escape from. And wanting to escape, being unable to. We don't know who it is for sure, but you know, there's been some hints. And then after that, we cut to Anje, visiting Naku Koro. Something. I forget the exact name. This lady has a lot of different names. Okay, she has like 4, and I cannot remember all of them. But meeting an author with many pen names who has been writing forgeries, like stories based on the 2 stories in a bottle, like the messages in a bottle that were found that make up episode 1 and episode 2. Hey cat, how are you doing? And so yeah, basically just making fake news stories that seem more accurate than the stories that some of the other fans of this mystery have been writing in the current day. So Anje goes to see her thinking, maybe this person knows more about my family. Maybe this person has information that I don't. At which point, she is deemed the reader of the Witch of Theater Going, I believe. We got to that part, right? Well, anyway, that's what Anje is now. Yes, we definitely got to that part. And we don't entirely know what that means yet. And yeah, episode 6 starts with these 3 scenes that have very little to do with each other, don't explain anything, and seem completely kind of out of nowhere, because Anja can't even remember, like, where she is or how she got there at this meeting. And she knows for a fact that the Anja who went to Rokonjima does not actually go to this meeting with this author lady. So she's essentially in 2 places at the same time. And hopefully we're going to find out what the deal is with that at some point. And that was a very long-winded summary because, yeah, a lot happened last time. Also, I'm glad you're doing great. I'm doing good, thank you. Alright, to start us off with our content warning. Content warning for Erica, who is creepy. And creepy. Character deaths. detailed descriptions of gore and body horror, child abuse, and discussions and mentions of suicide and misogyny. And you know, if you know Erica, you know why that warning is in there. She gets worse. Much, much worse. Yes, it is possible. But I do love her theme song, or one of them. She has multiple, I think. Alright. We are back on the game board, I believe, or in the world surrounding the game board. So let's start. At one time, only Beato and her fellow witches had gathered in the smoking room to chat. Now, however, an unusually large number of people were present. Why is it always Lambda? Alright, I'm ready.
I wonder what kind of game Balor's going to show us.
Yeah, it's almost every time she shows up first for these. It's a good warm-up, that's true. It hurts.
I don't care what, as long as it's fun enough to relieve my boredom as I crush it. Leave everything to me, my master. I will perform to my fullest and give you the results you desire. Yeah, you'd better. I kept making strange faces all the time last game thanks to you. Though I might start getting wrinkles. There's no need to worry. The beauty of your face is without peer, no matter how wrinkly it may get. It's rare to see Byrne in such high spirits. Beato's game board really is something else.
How sad is that the master of this game board is no longer with us.
A tiger dies and leaves behind its hide. Looks like Beato has died and left behind her game. Even though chess still exists, no one knows the name of the person who invented it. Oh, you're right! Poor game creators. Come to think of it, Balor-san is really keeping us waiting, isn't he? Is he still setting up the 6th game?
Gertrude, how are Lord Battler's preparations progressing? For your attention, I beg to inform you of the following. Know that he will be finished very soon.
He must have a lot of confidence in what he's creating to keep us waiting this long. He really humiliated me in front of my master last time. I'll defeat him no matter what it takes. And you in particular, make sure you don't screw up again. I will meet the challenge with all of my strength.
The previous game master, Lambda Delta, had confirmed that Balor understood everything about Beato's game. However, in order to prove it, Balor would have to run this game by himself and carry it through to completion. In other words, if Erica could crush this game of Battlers, she would, in effect, wipe away the dishonor of that last game. Though Erica was chomping at the bit to get started, it was taking Balor quite some time to show himself. They do seem a little like the Bunny Girls, it's true. Then, a swarm of gold butterflies swelled out of nothing and formed a human shape. From the shape of that familiar dress, everyone immediately realized who it was. Get ready for pain.
Ah, look! It's Beatrice-san. And I thought you died and disappeared last time. Beato the player is the one who disappeared. This is probably just a piece. Battler's piece.
I've completely lost Burns' voice, I'm so sorry. How did I do that again? Even if she is a piece, it does not change the fact that it is her. Beatrice gave an elegant curtsy as she appeared. This humble entrance was so vastly different from her usual high-pitched laugh that it created a sense of tension as they waited for the start of the 6th game to be announced at last. I'm fine.
Father will be here very soon. I ask that you wait for just a short while longer. Aha! Father, what's that? This game's new twist on things?
Not only had Beato started talking in an unusually polite manner, she had also used the word father, probably referring to Battler. Also, thank you. For an instant, everyone was stunned into silence, but they quickly realized that this was part of something bigger, and they grinned. Beato wasn't the type who could keep up this kind of act for long. It would probably fall apart in a few seconds, leaving her laughing and cackling rudely at everyone. Erika, who was itching for a fight, went for Beato almost at once.
I never expected that incompetent ballet-san to reach the truth of your game. It must be Father's talent that led him to his profound understanding. He really is clever. You're pretty lucky, aren't you? If Battler hadn't become the game master, you would never have revived again. You certainly have the luck of the devil.
The devil?
In any case, I'm going to pay you back in full for last time. You're just one of Battler's delusions, fantasies. I'll erase every part of you and knock you down into the abyss of oblivion.
Well, I also intend to hold my own. There's a little note here saying that she's basically using, I guess, different pronouns for herself than Beatrice used to do. So that's interesting. I, look forward to having a good, clean fight. By this point, everyone realized that something weird was going on. It's, so the word that Beatrice uses to refer to herself by saying, like, I, in Japanese is like, I think it's warawara, which is kind of like fancy old-fashioned. And now she's saying watashi, which is just I. So she's basically just using like normal words versus stuff that makes her sound more like grand, you know, and more modern too, yeah. But like what she used, how she used to talk wasn't very like, you know, making herself look like a 1,000-year-old witch essentially. Yeah, exactly. There was no doubt that the face, the dress, and the hair were all Beatrice's. However, her expression was different. Even though she had Beato's face, Beato would never show anyone an expression like that.
Just who are you?
There was a heavy silence. Lambda Delta spoke for everyone there. At first, Beato wore a smiling yet confused expression. However, when she realized that the mood had gone suddenly stiff, her expression finally darkened and she hung her head. Who are you? You appear to be Lady Beatrice, but is that true? Even Delanor was forced to ask despite the rudeness of the question. That was how much this woman, who appeared to be Beato, was not. Am I somehow different from the Beatrice that all of you were expecting? What are you talking about? Wait a second. Don't tell me you have amnesia or something. I was only born recently, so I have no memories at all. But I'm studying hard in order to become the Beatrice you all expect. Beato, I thought I told you to stay in your room. Valor's voice came out of nowhere. His tone was very slightly cold. Beato's expression looked like that of a young girl being scolded. With a swirl of gold butterflies, because yes, Valor does have them now. Valor appeared. His dignified bearing and appearance were fitting for the ruler of this game. However, his expression was gloomy, and his gaze was directed at Beato. Go back to your room. You weren't supposed to be here. I just wanted to help you however I could, Father. Go to your room. He spoke both softly and forcefully. Valor didn't leave her any room for debate. Beato hung her head and curtsied as she prepared to leave the room. Also, yes, what is it, Father? My name is Valor. Never call me by another name again. Yes. Beato melted into a swarm of butterflies and disappeared. This was the first part of the tale with Valor as the game master. The witches had all expected him to come forward with some flashy big developments, so they were all fairly confused. Their mouths were still hanging open. This is an unusual approach. Pardon me. Please forget what you saw just now. So, are you trying to trick us with this? You're scheming to give us the wrong impression, like another North Wind and the Sun strategy, aren't you? Is there something wrong? Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with you people. I see. Then it doesn't matter. Alright, Valor, please start up the new game right away. You've kept us waiting so long, it's gotten totally boring. Sure. Let's start the 6th game. Erica, and you too, Brimcastle. This will be my tale. Proof that I've reached the truth about Beato. Lambda Delta, please oversee this game, as a former game master.
Sure, looking forward to it. What's the title?
Dawn. As in, Dawn of the Golden Witch.
Of course, the winter sun is quick to sink back below the horizon. Of course, my master. I'll drag it back down for you right away. At least your title's good, Valor-san. I'll give you that much.
I'm glad you like it. Then let's get started. The 6th game will now begin. Balor solemnly announced the start of the game. Compared to his fired-up attitude at the end of the last game, where he and Erika had sworn to settle everything next time, he was extremely quiet now. I forgot Featherine's voice. I also did forget to mention that, Author Lady is a witch, named Featherine. That's a short version of her name. Her actual name is much longer. Featherine Augustus Aurora. But yeah, here she is.
Anjin. Beato seems very different from the way she was before.
I'm surprised too. I don't have a clue what's going on. In fact, I don't even get why Beato's revived in the first place. I just finished reading it a little while ago, but at the end of the previous tale, didn't she die just before Oni-chan reached the truth? And yet, Balor doesn't seem, quite into it anymore.
There are two kinds of death in this world. One of them is when a piece is taken from the game board. This is only a death within the bounds of the game, and these lives can revive over and over again each time you start a new game. And that's why the witches are so merciless when it comes to taking those lives. To the witch players, the lives of those characters who appear on the game board are no different from pieces on a chessboard that take other pieces and get taken. After all, these pieces will be set up again when the next game starts. Maria Sakutaro is a prime example of these.
Sakutaro is One-chan's piece? Yes, that does make sense. On the game board that represents the inside of One-chan's head, Sakutaro certainly does exist, and is a piece which always stays by her side. Though he's nothing more than a stuffed animal in the real world. On One-chan's game board, he is a full piece, no different from any other piece. But I wonder, on the witch's game board, it's easy to revive a piece, right? But One-chan was unable to revive Sakutaro in her world. That's because she lost that completely unique stuffed animal that was his vessel. Because of this, the conditions for that piece's existence were violated, and it became impossible to revive him on Maria's game board. The only reason you were able to revive Sakutaro on the game board was because you once again satisfied the conditions for his existence, correct? True. Maria One-chan was only unable to revive him because she had lost the stuffed animal that was his vessel. If, like my family on Beato's game board, she hadn't needed a vessel for him, she would have been able to revive him as often as she wanted. Got it. I see that Sakutaro might be considered One-chan's piece. At least, as long as his vessel was okay, he could have been revived over and over again. Correct. As long as the vessel is safe, it can be revived over and over again. That's what the life of a piece is like. That's the first kind of death in this world. What's the second? That's the death of beings outside the game board. To continue with the Sakutaro example, this would be like Maria's death. Not the piece, but the real One-chan's death, right? It doesn't have to be her death. Loss of interest or concern would have the same effect. When Maria grows up from playing with stuffed animals, then Maria the game player will die. It's as quick and easy as turning off the switch on a TV when you get bored of it. I see. In that case, Beato the player completely gave up on winning during the last game. So she died and vanished. Which means that if Beato thinks she has a chance of defeating Oni-chan again, she'll come back to life, right? Logically, that is true. It's the same for people, witches, and even gods. If they lose interest and concern, they can die at any time. And if they regain that interest, they can revive at any time. However, though the concept of time does not exist in the world of gods, who can revive whenever they want, time shoots by like an arrow in the human world, and it is not so easy there. That's true. Skipping school for one day might not be a problem, but if you skip for 3 days in a row, it'd be really hard to convince yourself to go back. And what if that's stretched out for a month, a year, a decade? What if it lasted for 1,000 years, like the world of witches? I see. If you skipped for that long, it would mean your death as far as society is concerned. If you remain dead for that long, not only would you be unable to catch up on all you missed in the world at large, you'd also lose any motivation you might have had when you left. So, even though you'd be alive, you could say that you died once. You would never again be able to regain the self that you once were. You would never revive. Beato lost any chance or hope of winning. Even though she knew this, she pretended not to, and kept on fighting for many, many games. So, Beato will not return. Her hopes were crushed. She spent all of the willpower that she might have used to regain the will to fight. Therefore, that Beatrice will never revive again. Like I said, get ready for pain. That Beato, who just sat around the whole time with empty eyes in the 5th game, must have been her corpse. She had managed to remain on the game board despite it all, but then even that corpse was wiped away. If Beato had been the game master at that time, instead of Lambda Delta, I can read. The game board itself would have vanished at that moment, and everything would have ended. Come to think of it, Beato started to lose the will to fight back near the end of the 4th game. When Beato loses her will to fight, the world of this game disappears. However, the witches wanted to keep playing in this game board world, so Lambda Delta bound Beato in place with the curse of that shackle. She used that shackle to make sure that the game board wouldn't disappear, even if Beato did lose the will to fight. In chess, this would be the equivalent of removing the set time limit for each turn, making it endless. However, simply having the game endlessly paused on Beato's turn would cause the witches to die from their illness of boredom. That's why Lambda Delta took the position of Game Master. Starting then, Beato's existence was no longer one of the conditions necessary for the game to exist. That's probably why the shackles binding her to the game board were released. And that explains why she disappeared in the 5th game. So, when Oni-chan managed to reach the truth, it was one game too late for him to tell Beato about it. The 5th game was a form of charity on Lambda Delta's part. She merely showed Balor some mercy as the Witch of Certainty, acknowledging his strong desire to reach the truth no matter what. How can you call that charity? It's just those fickle witches killing time. Let's get back to the point. So, that means this weird Beato isn't player Beato. She's just a piece Beato. Yes. And if that is so, you would expect her to turn out as the Beato everyone knows well. That should also be the kind of Beato that Balor wants. You mean, he wasn't satisfied with just a doll? When playing with dolls, one can project the personality they most desire onto the doll. However, since you are acting out their part, nothing unexpected can ever happen. You cannot hope for any unanticipated happiness. In the human world, there's nothing so boring as predictability. That's why, though a doll can become a person's best friend in the world, people eventually get bored and outgrow them. Oni-chan only wants the real Beato. He couldn't bear having a doll that he could only make act like Beato. A Beato born as Balor's piece would probably move exactly according to Balor's wishes. She is a piece, so that's only natural. Pieces move according to their players' directions, and they are incapable of moving in any other way. I see what it is Oni-chan wants. Then, just who is this weird Beato? Balor might be trying to revive Beato in the truest sense. It is the never dying dream held by the children of man. You just used red to say that that wasn't possible. That Beato has no chance of reviving. However, that doesn't mean that it is impossible to create Beato again. Have you forgotten? I believe that Verncastle herself revealed Beato's true form at the end of the 1st game. Now I remember. She said something about how Beato exists at the incarnation of the rules. Rules and information, brought together, ultimately took the form of the witch known as Beatrice. If that pattern is followed once more, the same Beatrice will be born again, and perhaps one could call that a resurrection. In other words, that weird Beato is like an egg of Beato, or else a chick. That interpretation is probably accurate. In short, this Beato is a chick that might become that Beato. And that means this pure and lovable kid will eventually grow into that screwed up crazy witch. In other words, that Beato is a baby version of the Beato we all know. So, just like how no person is born evil, the newborn Beato isn't evil either. Even though she really is a different person, if you measure her by her basis, her soul, then maybe you really could call this a resurrection. However, this reality can't possibly be easy to accept. Though she may technically be Beato herself, she is also, without a doubt, a different person. that way she acts would make anyone feel as though something's out of place. How entertaining. Hearing you read aloud is far from boring. I wonder if you even really need someone to read aloud for you. It looks like you already know everything. I only reached that thought because I am engaged in a conversation with you. My thoughts are more numerous than stars in the sky. I only appear to know everything to a child of man like you. However, without you here, I am nothing but a weak, sickly person without even the power to think. If you just said that in the first place, I'd have agreed to read for you a lot more easily. My mood just happened to improve. Don't get an overswelled impression of yourself. I think of your life as nothing more than a leaf one may lose after using it as a bookmark. Please continue reading, is how I choose to interpret that. Okay? Far from boring. You really do make an excellent Miko. Featherine rocked back in her rocking chair and looked up at the ceiling, laughing as though the conversation itself was pleasant to her. Anja was slowly figuring out how to deal with this strange witch. This person was also bored. When a sick person has been in bed for a long time and gets too bored, they sometimes act in a rebellious way. On the other hand, they also get a little bored of being treated kindly all the time. She may want to be respected for her superiority, but it's probably more interesting for her when she's spoken to a little rudely. What a coincidence. That's exactly how I used to be. Anyway, from what we learned in the 4th game, there's no doubt that there was some kind of bad blood between Beato and Oni-chan in the past. Learning about this Beato might give us a key towards finding the truth. It does seem so. It has caught my interest as well. Let us read her tale too. Ah, sure, as you wish, my master. Anja raised her hands like a conductor, and the bookshelves in this bizarre study responded. Once again, several books floated out and began to swirl around Anja. Okay, I'll drink some water real quick. Thank you for the save reminder. Whoops. I will also save. There we go. I'm not gonna go on super long today because my voice is, as you might have picked up on, a little rough today. Did a fair amount of talking. But you know, I'm good to go for a little longer. Kinzo's study is the room belonging to the master in the human world. So, this study in the world of non-humans belonged to the master of the game board, and was a place where he could look down upon the humans. Therefore, it was understandable that one might mistake the imposing, robe-clad man in the center of the study for Kinzo. If only for a second. It wasn't Kinzo. It was Battler, the one who had taken up the position of Game Board Master, and who had become the new territory lord of this world. Our boy is sad. Someone fix him. Yeah, the last few ones have been going on a little longer, so it'll work. It'll even out. We got some new music. I think it's surrounding. Around Balor was a swirl of glowing fragments, sparkling like the night sky. And on the floor was what appeared to be a red magic circle. To an outsider, it would have appeared to be nothing more than an incomprehensible geometric shape. But to Balor, who stood at its center, it was the outline for a new tale. A new line grew across the magic circle, following Balor's gaze. Then, at the instant it connected with a complicated symbol, the entire magic circle flashed brightly. So, how does it look? It is splendid, my lord. The 6th game is complete. As Balor wiped his forehead and finally relaxed, Genji, who was standing behind him and watching over his every move, nodded deeply in response. I always thought being a game master meant you could make the tale however you want. But this is seriously harder than I thought it'd be. Hey Ghosty, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome. You must write up multiple tales and make the inner and outer sides of the story match. And yet, you have displayed such skill it is hard to believe that this is your first time. I believe even Erika-sama will be satisfied with this game. Well, hopefully it matches that great detective's taste. Still, I've got to honestly respect Beato now. I can hardly believe that she managed to create such complicated stories so easily. It was not easy. Beatrice-sama spent a long time deliberating, and each time she created a tale, she would worry over various contradictions. She was constantly battling with logic errors. Damn, Genji, why do you talk like that? Oh, it's because I made you. I'm glad you're doing good, and it has been a while, huh? I'm doing great, thank you. Just my voice. Is it? My throat's a little sore today. Yeah, I do it to myself. I like decide, you know what, Genji has a really low voice in the anime. I should try to match that. It suits him. And then I try to actually make it happen. It's like, ugh. But you know, I do my best. Logic errors? That is when the two sides of the tale do not meet, creating a contradiction. When this happens, it becomes a fatal violation of the rules known as a logic error. Known as a logic error, the intonation kind of matters when you're reading. And the game board will immediately collapse and be destroyed. It is the greatest and worst form of error that the which side can make, and one which must always be avoided. And Beato got close to bumping into those several times in her games. She fought with them every time she created a game. I believe it grew even more difficult for her as she became a more effective opponent. So, do you think this game I've made is good enough to show Beato? Yes, of course. Has Beato still not woken up? been a while since her body was formed as a personification of the rules. Is she still not awake? After remaining silent for a while longer, Genji answered. She woke up 3 days ago. You were concentrating on the construction of the 6th game, so I decided to wait before telling you. My sincere apologies. Oh, really? Yeah, I'll bet she's still all drowsy after sleeping so long. I really wanted to show her my game. No, it's more than that. I have to show her my game. I need to tell her that I've understood everything. Balor's face broke into a smile. There was no trace in his expression of the hatred he had once felt towards Beato for murdering his family. In a way, that was the final mystery of the 5th game. Yes. When Balor reached the truth, there was a great change in his impression of Beato. Does this mean it's fair to assume that there really was some kind of connection between Onichan and Beato? And that he forgot all about it? However, Balor suspected this in the 4th game and asked Beato about it. And within the story, this was denied by the Red Truth. 6 years ago, no person called Beatrice existed for Balor. We can read this as saying that Beato did not exist 6 years before, or it could simply mean that she had no connection to Balor at that time. However, either way, Balor did not visit Rokkenjima at all for the next 6 years. October 4th, 1986 should have been the first time Beatrice and Onichan met. If so, why was there already some kind of bad blood between them? I don't have a clue what it means. That Ushiromiya Balor's sin, which Beato questioned Balor about in the 4th game, might give us a clue. The result of that might have been Beatrice herself. The result? The result of Onichan's sin was Beato? That almost sounds as though Onichan created the witch called Beatrice himself. Almost as though Beatrice was Balor's piece. Huh? 6 years earlier, Balor committed a sin. Because of that sin, people died. The killer was Beatrice. If you consider the possibility that everything is connected to Balor's sin 6 years before, then the one who created Beatrice was Balor himself. I thought it sounded almost as though she was Balor's piece. I don't get it. If Onichan sinned in some way, it must have been something much lighter than murder at the very least. If someone caused this huge massacre in retaliation for that, that's totally out of proportion. Beato killed our family. Dad, Mom, Onichan, everyone. I can't believe that Onichan's sin was anything deserving of that. The weight of a sin depends on the person measuring it. Even a sin so light that Balor might have forgotten could have been so serious to Beato that she hated him enough to massacre his whole family a full 6 years after the fact. Well, even I think that a bit excessive, and more importantly, if she were a person like that, I would find it hard to accept that Balor would act so friendly towards her after discovering the truth. Featherin's observation was extremely interesting. In a past game, Beato said clearly that Onichan's sin 6 years before was the cause of this two-day tragedy. I still don't know what kind of sin that was. However, He figured it out at the end of the 5th game, and he even apologized to Beato. Even though she was the witch who had massacred his entire family in retaliation for a sin of 6 years before, Balor apologized to her. Of course, it was the player Balor who apologized, not the peace Balor whose family had been murdered over and over again. But even so, Balor must have remembered something at the end of the last game that made him feel like apologizing. This sin from 6 years before. Does this mean that it's hidden somewhere in the tale so far? I have already formed a theory about it. Oh? Let me hear it. I can't tell you yet. I want to enjoy being the only one who knows the answer for a little while longer. Well then, I guess I'm done reading for you. Well, we can't have that, can we? Have some patience, and read a bit further. My theory is still nothing more than a guess. Once I'm certain of it, I'll tell you. Okay, my master. I actually do want to hear what comes next, after all. Oni-chan and Beatrice. Just what kind of connection is there between them? Learning that will probably be the ultimate key to the truth of this world. After all, remembering that was what enabled him to reach the truth. True. One second. You're thinking the game is an infinite loop. Oh, because of the... Yeah, I remember your theory from last time. Interesting point to that one. When Sorcerer Balor appears for the first time in this game, so what we just saw, the music that plays during that scene is the same music that plays during the first scene that Kinzo appears at the very, very beginning of the game in episode 1. So that's cool. Now, if that means something, or if that means nothing at all, I'll leave that up to you. This is gonna hurt. Beatrice. Welcome, my lord. Beatrice-sama is waiting for you. This way, please. This place was a villa set aside for Beatrice's use. It was a sacred site for her only, built so that she could spend her days without being affected by the outside world. Ow. My heart began to race. I'm so glad that she was able to revive, and that everything's okay. Beato is a personification of the rules. So even though she was destroyed once, it is possible for her to be reborn again. Balor had quickly succeeded in reviving Beato's body, but he had had trouble summoning her soul back. However, during the time he had spent immersed in the creation of the 6th game, she had woken up. And this had happened 3 days ago. Balor let himself be led into the dining hall. The dining hall had been set up for his and Beato's use. Yeah, this is where Rosa met her, yeah. Or at least, like, a different version of, because we're in the, in the meta world. It existed so that they could enjoy some black tea while discussing the truth, now that he had finally reached it in its entirety. I want to tell her. I want to tell Beato that I found the truth. Balor couldn't hold back his excitement over this miracle he had been granted, that Beato was waiting for him in the dining hall to hear what he had to say. How is Beatrice? Same as usual? Is she in high spirits? Oh yes, she is in very high spirits now. She has been waiting for you all this time, my lord. Oh yes. Is she in the dining hall? Is she eating or something? Ah, that's alright, it doesn't matter either way. You'll be surprised. Beatrice! When he swung open the doors to the dining hall, Balor was greeted by a wonderful sight. Though the food laid out on the table wasn't particularly sensational, it was arranged beautifully, and a champagne bottle stood there waiting. Then, the person clad in that familiar dress with the beautiful golden hair bowed deeply in greeting. Beatrice. You have my sincerest gratitude for giving me this form. Come on, don't worry about that. I'm so glad. Beato. Balor rushed up to Beato and hugged her tightly, just to make sure her body wasn't just mist or an illusion. I solved your riddle for you. But then, before I could tell you about it, you went and disappeared. I'm right here. I will not disappear. It's okay, you can stop talking like that. I'm not going to ask you for anything in return. Anyway, I want to apologize, and I want to talk with you. I don't even know where I should start. You have done nothing that you need to apologize for, Father. I'm glad just to be of service to you. Beato? I was born for your sake, Father. Please, let me support you. And Father, congratulations on completing the 6th game. I told you, stop talking like that. It's totally creepy. Do you find this style of speech displeasing? Please forgive my rudeness. Well, I don't find it displeasing, but it's not like you. I guess I like the way you usually talk best. Beato smiled vaguely. To Balor, it probably looked as though they were both smiling over the same joke. However, Beato's smile was literally vague and uncertain. After all, she didn't know how she was supposed to talk. Anyway, Beato, just what kind of joke is this? Don't tell me that the great Beatrice-sama decided to cook for me. When I heard that you had completed the 6th game, I wanted to see if I could prepare a modest reward to congratulate you. Beatrice-sama really worked hard to make this. I didn't even need to lend a hand at all. No, I didn't. The food set on the table really was modest and inexpertly made. You could tell by looking at it that Beato wasn't particularly skilled with cooking, had given it her all when making it. However, signs of discomfort and irritation were beginning to appear on Balor's face. What is this all about? Well, as she said, Beatrice-sama decided that she would like to congratulate. Sweat was starting to show up on Kumasawa's forehead. She was also feeling uneasy. When he noticed, Balor realized that it wasn't just his imagination. Beato turned her back to Balor and stuck a corkscrew into the champagne bottle. Then she showed it to Balor. Father, congratulations on the completion of the 6th game. In the hopes that you will prove victorious over your longtime rival, Furudo Erika. Pop. When presented with a champagne bottle and a sound like that, anyone would think that the cork had been pulled out. However, it wasn't the cork. It was the bottom of the bottle. The high-quality champagne that Beato had procured splashed out all over the floor and her dress. Then, the same sound repeated several more times. Each time, one of the plates of food on the table was knocked into the air. Father, did you find the food displeasing? Who are you? I am Beatrice. I was born for your sake, Father. No. Huh? Who is this? This isn't Beato. And don't call me Father. What's going on here? What is this? Didn't I revive Beato? Genji, what's this all about? My apologies. But that is indeed Beatrice-sama. Like hell it is. How is this supposed to be Beato? She's totally wrong. A fake. No. That is Beatrice-sama. It is, without a doubt, Beatrice-sama, who was born in accordance with the rules of the game board. No, this isn't anything like Beato. Beato would always talk in this weird way. She'd laugh rudely and more. No, this is unquestionably Beatrice-sama herself. Then why is she talking like that? Why is she calling me father? But Beatrice-sama was only born a short while ago. It would be far too cruel to expect her to act as she once did so soon. Are you saying her memory hasn't returned yet? My lord, this person is most certainly Beatrice-sama herself. However, she is not the Beatrice-sama you know so well. What are you talking about? I'm the game master, right? Why can't I revive Beato? Oh yes, she most certainly has revived. However, the old Beatrice-sama had lived for 1,000 years. This Beatrice-sama, on the other hand, was only born a short while ago. If she appears to be a different person, well, that just can't be helped. Then, how can I revive that Beato? Her body is right there. How can I revive her soul? If she lives the same 1,000-year life again, she should become the same Beatrice-sama she was before. So I'm supposed to wait 1,000 years? A person's personality isn't decided solely by their birth. It can change drastically based on how they live and what they experience. True that. Right, her name is Hachijo Tohya. I guess. I forgot that at the beginning. Time to put her through some really nasty trials. Holy shit. You're right, and I hate that you are. Okay. Do you understand? Even though she's the same Beato, she is not the same. I get it. Even if you had two of the exact same person, they could change enormously depending on their upbringing. Even though they might both be the same human to start with, their upbringing could change them so much they effectively become two completely different people. Usually, we use the term person to refer to a person, not their personality. However, since humans recognize a person by their personality, they might as well be two different people from a human perspective. That's so true. If that tragedy 12 years ago hadn't happened, Missy here might have been a cute girl who could smile without looking so weird. That's rude. I'm cute enough right now, thank you very much. I understand. If a personality is what makes a person in our eyes, you could say that a second personality is a different person entirely, even if it inhabits the same flesh body. At the very least, I'm a completely different person than I used to be 12 years ago. And if my family had come home 12 years ago, then the Anja that resulted would surely be a completely different person from me. Even the same human can become different people. In fact, depending on their upbringing and endless possibilities, they can become an endless number of different people. So, just because this is the same Beato, there's no guarantee at all that she'll be the Beato that Oni-chan knows so well. And on top of that, Beatrice is a witch who lived 1,000 years. A person can die and be reborn in the span of just 3 days. 1,000 years is just too long. It seems you're quite a skilled reader. For most of my readers, it would be necessary to devote several hundred pages to explaining how a single human can become different people depending on their upbringing and the passage of time. Don't underestimate your readers. We aren't just reading. We read and we think. If I give my work to 100 people to read, 90 will actually be able to. However, only 50 will actually understand what it means, and not even 20 will be capable of thinking beyond that. Yet, all I am asking is that they chew before they swallow. Nothing more than that. However, it seems that you are one of those precious 20 readers. That's why I invited you here, child of man. It was hard to actually like this Hachijo Tohya person. However, though this forgery she had written was still in its first stages, it definitely felt as though it had something very similar to the tales in those message bottles. Speaking metaphorically, one might call it a scent. An indescribable stern atmosphere, like a stuffy library. The Beatrice who wrote the message bottles and Hachijo Tohya are different people. And yet, this has the same scent as that tale. I see. This is why some of those curious witch hunters are so intensely devoted to her. Their keen sense of smell was able to sniff out that familiar scent. Very well then. I'm so sorry I yawned while I said that. Very well then. Please continue reading. There could be nothing more entertaining than watching your face as you glance over the words. That, and speaking with you. I guess it's true that writers are always starving for opinions on their works. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't have time to read all the way through this thick manuscript. More importantly, I came here to. But you have all the time in the world. Both the second hand and the pendulum on the ornate clock behind Hachijo had been moving the whole time. However, absolutely no time had passed for a while now. Only about 3 minutes had gone by since the time she had entered the room. See? Time isn't something you have to worry about. Time everywhere will leave you alone until you've finished reading. Ooh, so yawning. I had a long day. Next page, Missy. Next page. Amakusa badgered me to turn the page, so I returned to the world of the tale once more. Why does her tail have the same scent as Beatrice's, I wonder? Is it because she has actually reached the truth as she claims? Does this mean that anyone who knows the truth could create an endless number of message bottles? Is that what the Catbox's world is like? I see. Maybe she really is an endless witch herself. In fact, maybe anyone who knows the truth can become an endless witch. An endless tale created by endless witches. The 2 days starting on October 4th, 1986, where my family is being toyed with endlessly. I have to end it. I have to find a hint of the truth from within the story and end this endless tale. What do you think, Beato? How's this 6th game that I've made? Well, you're not the type to give me an honest compliment anyway, are you? You'd probably say something more like, "Not bad for an incompetent fool like you." Not bad for an incompetent fool like you. Now that I've seen what it's like to be a game master, I understand everything. You really had to work hard during each and every game. Creating a game is not such an easy thing. To think that the day would come when we would both congratulate each other like this. Creating a game is not such an easy thing. To think the day would come when we would both congratulate each other like this. All wrong. This isn't Beato. Balor slammed hard on the desk, but the piece Beato showed no reaction. After all, Balor hadn't ordered her to react. It was easy to revive that Beato as a piece. However, it would only move according to Balor's wishes. Having a conversation with it was no different from talking to himself. The Game Master could summon any kind of piece. He could move those pieces in any way he wanted, reigning as an absolute god. However, for that very reason, they were just pieces. That made it unbelievably lonely and sad. He created many kinds of furniture, as well as several tales in the past. When I saw that, I was sure you were having a great time doing it. But that's wrong. You were unbelievably lonely. It must have been such a relief for you to have an opponent in me who could actually go against you. I'm painfully aware of that now. That weird, polite Beato? She is you, I don't doubt that. The way you were 1,000 years ago. However, she is a separate person. The way she just looks just like you is what I really can't get over. I can't stand it. However, she isn't a piece, so she can go against my will. Sure, unlike the piece you are, that Beato is much more alive. I acknowledge that, but it's all wrong. That isn't you. She's a completely separate person, like a long-lost little sister or something. And that's why I just can't accept her. As much as he hated this piece, Beato, Balor felt an even stronger dislike for the chick Beato. Even after a whole 1,000 years, she still wouldn't become the original Beato. Even if she were ordered to act like the original Beato, it would just be an imitation. This was a very similar but separate person, and definitely not Beato herself. Then, in the previous game, Beato really did disappear for all eternity. Even after becoming the Game Master, there was no way to revive her. Laugh. Laugh at how pathetic I am. Just give it a rest already. You're just an illusion who won't laugh unless I order it. Who can't even continue to laugh unless I keep on ordering it. Just disappear. Well, hell. Alright, time for another water break. And if you hear snapping noises, I'm just stretching. Don't worry, it always sounds like that. Yeah, you didn't hear snapping? Okay. It went, I heard it through my noise cancelling headphones. But then, you know, I live in my body, so of course I would hear that, I guess. Okay. Okay. I will also save. Because, you know, we reached a new bit. Thank you for redeeming your save reminder, Cat. On the Rokkanjima, this day, or rather, this time around, was the same as any other. The typhoon would be coming soon. Very soon. The clouds hadn't yet grown thick, but they were moving quickly. The only thing on Natsuhi's mind was the plan to cover up Kinzo's absence this year as well. Kraus appeared to have suffered a stomachache from the stress and was resting in his room. Jessica and Kumasawa had left in a boat to go shopping and greet the incoming relatives on Nijima. The servants had been busy since the early morning in preparation for the family conference, the greatest event of the year. Shannon and Kanon were getting the guest house ready. Shouldn't the guest rooms in the mansion be more than enough to hold the relatives?
Good point. It is a pain to clean up here as well. Even so, I like cleaning the guest house.
Yeah, it's nice and quiet without Madam and all the annoying servants. Shannon gave a non-committal smile as she performed a detailed examination of the guest room. Did we forget to clean anything? Do we need to restock anything? She diligently gave the room one final check over. You checked everything thoroughly last night too, didn't you? You really are dedicated.
It's on days like this when you tend to get pranked if you're careless. You can never find important things when you need them, and things that were supposed to be closed turn out to be open.
That's because you're too careless. You don't pay attention while you work.
I guess that's why you were helping me check. Thanks.
There's nothing to thank me for. If you were a bit more alert, I wouldn't have to help at all.
But the truth is, you just want to be with me, right? You're such a kid.
That's not it at all. It's all because you've been so ecstatic about George-sama lately. You're messing up so much, I can't let you out of my sight. Blech. Reading is hard.
Kanon-kun, let's chat a bit.
We can't do that now. We're working.
You keep making fun of me and George-sama. But how is it going between you and Jessica-sama?
Nothing's going on in particular. If you have time to talk about that, let's just finish this. What? Kanon was, very obviously, trying to change the subject. So Shannon snuck up behind him and pushed him down onto the bed.
Why did you turn down Milady when she asked you to go with her to welcome the relatives?
Because I have work to do.
Liar.
You don't actually have any work at all. Shannon and Kanon had switched roles. Normally, Kanon was the one in control, but when it came to romance, it was the opposite. As Shannon had said, Jessica and Kanon were supposed to have been the ones to go greet the relatives at the Nijima harbor. However, Kanon had suddenly claimed that he had work to do, so Kumasawa had gone instead. Kanon didn't have any work to do. Shannon knew this.
Milady told me, despite everything that happened after the cultural festival, her feelings for you haven't changed.
Even though I'm furniture.
That's right. And I'm furniture too.
And yet, you're in love with a human. Even though that's never going to be possible.
You think so? Maybe thinking that way is what makes us furniture.
I don't have any special feelings for Milady Jessica. I only think of her as the daughter of the family we serve.
Really?
Really. What?
is a chance that George-sama will propose to me tonight.
Shannon wore an incredibly peaceful smile on her face, but Kanon could tell that there was no way she'd let him change the subject. Kanon realized that she must have made him help out here in the guest house in order to talk to him about this, and he clicked his tongue softly. You really think you could marry a human even though you're furniture?
I think I can.
That's impossible.
Why?
That dream future that George-sama has imagined for you two is something you could never give him.
Well,
we aren't humans. We're furniture, inferior to them. George-sama only thinks that you're human.
well, that is true, but
I'm impressed that you've managed to trick him for so long. Do you really think that you can keep tricking him like that forever? Even though you still haven't been able to tell him that you're furniture.
being furniture or being human has nothing to do with this. I believe that George-sama will accept all of me.
And yet, you don't have the courage to check and make sure. Oh, he angry. That was a very angry looking sprite.
You know, I'm planning on saying yes.
Yeah, that's the angriest he's ever been. As Shannon looked up at the ceiling, she spoke of the imagined future that she and George would create. Though some anxiety over the future appeared on her face, so did joy from discovering what it was like to live with love. As Kanon watched this vivid dream he was being shown, he knew that none of his words would reach Shannon anymore. You can just do what you want. Once you've said something, you're incredibly stubborn.
Yep. I want to live life my own way. I've decided to stop worrying about who's furniture and who's a human.
Kanon walked over to the window silently. He saw the rose garden filled with boring gray flowers in bloom. He understood that Shannon was acting above her place, and he knew that her tale had no chance of a happy ending. However, he also knew that now Shannon had made her decision. No words of his could change her mind. In that case, it doesn't matter what I say. If I tell you to stop, you won't listen. If I tell you to do what you want, you'll do what you want. Why are you talking to me about this? It's not like you care what my response is.
What I want to know is how you feel about Milady.
I have nothing to do with the two of you.
Do you really feel absolutely nothing for Milady?
No, I don't, as I keep telling you.
Liar.
Why do you think that's a lie?
I know. I'm your big sister.
You don't know. You can't know what I'm feeling.
I do. I know everything about you, Kanon-kun. If you really do know, then why are you asking? Your head and heart are already full with your feelings for George-sama. And that single-hearted devotion is what I love about you. And that's why I'm rooting for you in the only way I can. You know that. Otherwise, even I would have loved to fall for Milady.
Kanon finally turned to face her, honestly and openly telling her his real emotions. That was what Shannon wanted to hear. And having heard it, she closed in even further on Kanon's true feelings.
No, you can't word it that way. I won't let you.
Then what do you want from me? What am I supposed to say?
Don't try to dodge by saying I would have loved to fall for her. All you need to do is honestly tell me what you really feel.
Milady is too dazzling for me. The way she lives is blinding, like the sun. That's what I love about her. I was so happy when Milady stretched out her hand and asked me to walk with her. No, I still am happy.
You love her, don't you?
Yes, I do. I love Milady. Finally, Kanon confessed his feelings in their entirety. In fact, by saying it aloud, he finally understood how he truly felt. As passionate tears welled up in his eyes, Kanon finally accepted it. He couldn't stop the tears from dripping down his face. Milady was exactly like me, locked up on Rokkenjima and living without any hope at all. And yet, she was able to light her own path and create her own fate. She was so dazzling that I envied her. I felt as though if I could be with her, I could find my true self instead of the pitiful person I am now.
When you turned down Milady's confession, were you sad?
I was. I never realized that lying to yourself could be so sad, so painful, so excruciating. And I just couldn't forgive myself for hurting Milady with that lie. I believed that I didn't have any right to fall in love ever again.
But you do.
The right to love is something only you can give yourself.
Being furniture or not has nothing to do with it.
If you tell yourself no, then it'll never happen. You mustn't think that way. That's why I gave myself, impudent furniture that I am, the right to fall in love. And you have it too. The right to fall in love?
Yes. If you can't give it to yourself, then I will.
Thank you. I feel as though I can finally see the sea.
I'm certain. Tonight, George-sama will propose to me. When he does, I will accept. I intend to leave this island and start a new life in a new world.
If that's the path you've chosen, then I have no say in the matter.
I'll leave this island,
and I'll never return again. It'll mean saying farewell to you, Kanon-kun. You're right. We won't see each other again, will we?
If you do love Milady from the bottom of your heart, and if you honestly say that your feelings are at least as strong as the ones I have for George-san, then you and I need to settle this.
Nee-san.
This way is best for both of us. Don't give up on your feelings on account of me.
Even though my selfishness might keep you from your happiness?
I'm fully aware of it. My happiness is hurting you as well.
We have no choice but to hurt each other. As she said this, Shannon turned her back to Kanon. As Kanon watched Shannon from behind, he was struck by her strength, and the sisterly love she showed in still thinking of him despite everything. Nee-san, living with you made me happy.
Me too. I wouldn't have lasted this long without you. And that's why I was able to meet George-san.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have realized how dazzling Milady is if it weren't for you.
I won't abandon my emotions. I'll focus only on my feelings and ignore everything else. And I won't look away when I trample over your heart.
Me too. I won't use you as an excuse to hide the way I really feel.
Whether my love bears fruit or yours does, let's each agree to celebrate the other.
Yes. I promise. And if I win, I will love Milady and treasure you.
Thank you. But if I win, I'll forget you and this island and leave this place forever.
Yes. Whichever of us wins, that person will pursue their love with all they've got, even if they know that love will be unrequited.
Yes. After all,
we are furniture, no more. And on that downer and downer thingy a bit, I'm gonna end because I am very sleepy. And let me tell you, all of this is extra sad if you've already read the whole story. And that goes for everything. But, yeah, it hit me a little for this one. I'm noticing all these things that I obviously didn't notice the first time around. And, oh boy, sad. Pain. And, Kat, that's an interesting thought you have there. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Alright. Alright. I will turn this game off. And then I'll just switch over to this real briefly. Because... Again, interesting thought. Interesting thought. Alright. I just got one little thing. Twitch has graced us with animated emotes. So we have these now. So that's cool. I'm gonna be making some more. So look out for those in the future. It's probably gonna be a while. It's like I've been busy, okay, with stuff. Alright. Yes, now you can just wiggle or like laugh like Lambda Delta does. You know? Oh ho ho ho. Cat. Friendly cat, go to sleep. Please. Wait, how do you... Anyway. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, we have animated emotes now. That's cool. And maybe at some point we're gonna have follower emotes if Twitch gets their butts in gear, which would be very nice. Okay, let me just start up some music and then I will wrap things up. No, you can't make me, okay. I mean, I can't, but maybe after they get hacked the second time. They did recently split up the art and creative categories again after shoving them all under IRL, which was a terrible decision. They undid that, so that's, I mean, it's something. It's like, you know, hey, we broke this, now we fixed it, be happy. I shouldn't complain. I should complain. Yeah, well, it was a shorter one today, and I am genuinely getting very sleepy. So I'll try to keep the rambling to a minimum for once. And just say thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I will get the VOD up and whatnot as soon as I can. And we're gonna be back next week with more Dawn of the Golden Witch. And hope to see you there. Also gonna catch up on that art stream on Monday, because I didn't last time. And you're all very welcome. I like doing these streams, they're very fun. And have a good night. Sleep well. Go to sleep. And have a good night, have a good week. See you next time. Bye bye.